I recently stumbled across a post on a subreddit that I find myself spending a lot of time scrolling through, which I thought would be an interesting dive into people's experiences about why their attempts to save money end up failing. The intention of today's video is to provide perspective. There are plenty of people, myself included, who preach the importance of building savings and learning how to save and all of that jargon that comes along with it. But let's actually look at the whats and the whys that cause people to really struggle to save. Let's get right into it. So the subreddit we're on today is Oz Finance, which is an abbreviation of Australia Finance. It's a pretty popular sub, and the thread we're looking at is a question asked by someone who said, why would you say your attempts to save money have ended up failing? The guy basically says, I've recently gone on the journey of being more conscious about how I'm spending money, and I'm looking at ways to improve the way I can save. And then he thought, well, let's look at the question from a different perspective, and said, if you were honest with yourself, what would you say the biggest mistake you've made with saving is, and what are your pitfalls? So what I did was I just sorted by best and started looking through the answers. And the top one being here, this guy said, no different to something like losing weight. Impulse control and discipline is his issue. He says, oh wow, look, something new and shiny, something that integrates with Google Home, and it's only $50. I'll spend that money, no problems, and integrate it into my home. Oh look, wow, graphics card, I could probably use the same one that he has now, but upgrading is only this much money. So you know what? I deserve a better graphics card. I'm going to upgrade. Damn, I'm hungry. I can't be bothered cooking. I'm going to just get Uber Eats tonight. And it's these small pitfalls where the money really does add up. It's really interesting watching people admit it as well, because I preach it so much on this channel, yet here are other people who literally can admit that their pitfalls and their issues with their impulse control are the things that hold them back from being able to save. At least the guy goes on to say, I've gotten better over the years, but it only takes a brief moment to lose that discipline, which I agree with as someone who tries to follow a lot of these practices, whether it be for weight loss, healthy eating, my exercise routine, how I manage my finances. I absolutely agree that all it takes is a little bit of a slip and you can go on a bit of a tangent and lose a lot of your money. He goes on to say, what is working for me now is having a spending allowance. I recommend doing this as part of the way I break down my accounts and expenses, and I've made videos talking about that topic before, and it's good to see that someone here has said using the bucket budgeting system similar to what Barefoot recommends has been working for him, and it's been consistent. Good way to start this thread. Another interesting answer that came up was, my default mode is not to spend. I have to convince myself to spend rather than the other way around. Do have a bit of lifestyle creep, but savings rate generally stays unchanged. This one is an interesting one. I myself do this as well. I am in default mode, don't buy something. If I don't need it, don't buy it. I have to convince myself to actually make a purchase, whereas I know a lot of people who do the opposite. They will justify a purchase before having to even think about making that purchase. They'll just go out, buy the thing, and then realize what they've done. Whereas I'll go out, I'll say, okay, I want this, but do I need it? Do I actually need to buy it? It's been a really productive practice that I've had because I still buy nice things. I just take my time. This again, I've made a video on it. It's called the 2-week rule. I'll leave links down in the description below to all of the videos that kind of tie into these responses, and the information in them I do believe is very valuable. Something worth noting, especially if this person here is saying that they follow this practice. It's not like I've invented these practices on the channel. I merely talk about them because they are legitimately ways to improve how you manage your finances. And look at the comment just below this one. The person said, a lot of people I know think it's crazy to go through a single day without spending money, and to me that is ecstasy. LaMayo, haha, very funny. As long as you have a budget, then just don't spend extra. Just have some sort of self-control. Also, working crazy hours and having video games as hobby helps you save. Now this, again, very interesting. So he has had an experience where there are people who can't fathom people not spending money on a certain given day. I disagree with this. I agree with what he said, but I disagree with those people who have that mentality. It shouldn't be a weird thing. You don't have to spend for the sake of spending. You should generally speaking, have a reason to spend money. That's my honest opinion. I might not be right, I might not be wrong. There's no right or wrong here. It's just me having a conversation. But it's funny how he can recognize that and he actually comments it, and people actually put their thoughts into context here. I find it fascinating. As long as you have a budget, then just don't spend the extra. It makes sense. And it's a thing that once you get into the habit of doing it, it works. Now, I definitely thought this one would be at the very top. Too much spending on food and skincare products. We'll ignore skincare products for the sake of this little part of the conversation, but food spending, absolutely. I am so aware of how much people spend on food products, which is pretty interesting. This person's calling it out. My wife has made me aware of the difference between skincare and makeup. The former is to help maintain a healthy and youthful visage, whereas the latter is fake shit that gets thrown in the bin at the end of the day. It wouldn't be too hard on yourself. Sure, you can provide comfort and justifications for it, but the food spending one, I have a feeling that this is going to come up a hell of a lot more in this thread. Let's keep going. Pre-house ownership, too much Uber Eats. Fair enough. I'd say that's part of food spending. Post-house ownership, so they've now bought a house, should have purchased stock in Bunnings since I'm buying so much of their shit. It's a pandemic. People buy so much stuff from home hardware stores, and Bunnings in Australia is the most popular. Not surprised by that one whatsoever. Old Schooler says, getting a girlfriend and thinking it won't have that much of an impact. I have a partner, I do spend money on her, and it's money that I can spend on her, and I'm sure that this one is a common one as well. A little bit different because it's more of like how you live your life kind of thing. If you're buying their meals every single day and you're paying for all of their transport and everything that is involved with their everyday costs, fair enough. I don't know if I would count that one in here as a hindrance towards savings. If you're in a relationship, you talk about your finances and you work together, girlfriend, boyfriend status, probably not merging finances at that point, but in the future, if you're married and you aren't working together with your finances towards a common goal, have something in common in terms of finances, that could be pretty dangerous territory and towards your savings and financial situation. Just saying, I've seen people in relationships who don't treat money the same way, and it has definitely affected them in the future. Okay, here's a good one. Setting an unrealistic savings rate target in the first place. Rational Reminder podcast has an episode about this recently, amongst other things. Cheeky little plug, no idea who it is. I might check it out later. But this is a good one as well. I myself actually set a savings goal for each of the accounts that I have set up. I've made a video about it again. I'll put it in the link description below. While you're down there, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help the channel. But this is a very, very interesting one for sure. I have fallen into this trap before. I've set the bar too high, made it unachievable, and then it gets really quite disheartening when you don't quite reach it. Even though you might save a large sum of money, the payoff's not going to be the same because you might not necessarily reach it in the end. And it's something that should be thought out. I set a rate this year, which was high, but it was achievable. And I'm on target to hit that rate, which is a great feeling. If I went higher because I don't know why I would need to go higher. If I can set a rate that's appropriate and I can work towards that goal, it makes it all that more incentivizing to hit that goal. That's a good point. So far, that's my favorite point out of it. What the person underneath say, and then being too hard on yourself when you mess up. Yeah, exactly what I just said. Just because you mess up sometimes doesn't mean you won't get there. In the end, you fail, you get up again. Insightful and wholesome comments. All right, let's keep going. Pet supplies are my weakness. I'll do anything that keeps my babies happy. I see some new food or a toy and think Noodles, Red, the fish would absolutely love this. Noodles must be the dog. Red dog, I would say as well. I swear my pets eat better than I do. They eat a different meal every day and I'm here eating the same chicken, canned tuna. I believe that spending money on your pets would be similar to spending money on your fitness. I think if it improves your life, improves your mental health, your happiness, go your hardest. Definitely set budgets for different things. Don't just spend all of your money on it. At the end of the day, that's not just like unnecessarily spending. I'm sure there would be some unnecessary spending in there and you could curve it a little bit, but that one isn't too bad. I don't think that you should be so hard on yourself if you're caring for someone. It's just like caring for your kid at the end of the day. If you're buying designer clothes for them, absolutely get the hell out of here. But if you're just basically providing them with essential needs and spoiling them a little bit, look, I can see how that could happen. She must be spending a lot of money if she's being detrimental to their savings by spending on their pets. No problem saving regularly. Automatic deposits, saving account goes up, bing bong, so easy. Now, if we're talking about failures with my investing, I've picked some absolute garbage over the years, thinking that I'm much smarter than everyone else. Turns out, nope. And I've totally obliterated a lot of easy saving in the process. So I guess the cherry message is that even if you've got a good handle on savings, you're not out of the woods yet. Good call again. Very interesting. I don't do the automatic deposits. I like to deposit money into each of my accounts when I'm paid, but automatic deposits is absolutely a good way to set and forget. An account can go up while you don't have to do anything. You have no action to follow. That's a good one. That actually, I like that. He said it himself is, yeah, just because you're good at saving doesn't make you the smartest person in the room. People make mistakes. People invest in things that aren't good investments and they lose their money. Not much more to that. I myself, I'm sure over my lifetime will make similar mistakes. The point I think he's trying to make is that the savings component is a pretty simple process when it's automated. And it's something that I would encourage people who don't save easily or find it difficult to not spend their money. I would definitely encourage doing something like this to not fall into that trap. Straw meets camel's back. So basically in this one, the guy says a lot of small purchases add up. Haha, something that I preach a lot in my videos. Every Sunday night, I update my sheet with my current account balances and go through my bank transactions for the week and assign dollar values to the category. This forces me to actually pay attention regularly and where my money is going. This past year was particularly bad as there have been a lot of one-off expenses I hopefully shouldn't have to be making again anytime soon. When I go to analyze the data next week and prepare to revise my budget for the new financial year, I'm very much looking forward to being disgusted at how much I spent on takeaway food. Food is in the example, great. The key point out of this one is having a spreadsheet that tracks your expenses. Again, I will link in the description below the video about how you should be tracking your expenses. It's something that I personally have done for the last 5 or so years really effectively, and it has absolutely curved my spending. I'm talking in terms of almost everything. Like food at work was a big one for me, spending nearly $1,200 a year on food at work. And this year alone, I've got it down to about 200. It's just from being aware and taking action to avoid falling into the traps that lots of people fall into. Okay, next one, 2 things, food and failing to track expenses properly. It's funny how literally everyone just seems, it's not that they're lazy is the wrong word, but it's just so easy to buy food in the format of getting Uber Eats, something delivered to your house. It's so convenient is the word, or going out and just actually getting takeout. It's a great experience. The food's greasy and it tastes good, even though most of the time it's probably unhealthy for you. And he said it again there, failing to track his expenses is a common theme here. And it's so funny that people can identify it, yet so many people don't put it into practice. It's all about baby steps, one step at a time. You can do it, anyone can do it, and it actually is effective. Once again, people who are failing to save tend to not understand where their true expenses are. Either something happens and an emergency sends them backwards, or they regularly spend more on things they're not accounting for. You need to somewhat think about the costs of these expenses and plan for them each week, even if it means just putting some money aside for unexpected expenses. I have the perfect example. I recently got a flat tire, talked about it in another video. It cost me about $315 to get everything all fixed up because the tire was busted, had to call out roadside assist and had to also plug up some other holes in my other tires when it got to the shop. This is absolutely a prime example of why having an emergency fund is a great thing. There's no more to really preach about it. I have made content which talks about this type of issue and how to avoid getting caught out in the trap. I paid the money on the day. I went about my day. There was no issues. Life was good. Life went on. Life moved on. Life. And the whole point is that I put a system in place like over the past 5 years that now it's automated. I get paid, money goes into bank accounts, and then I have reasons or set things that I can use each of those accounts for. And as long as I stay within those budgets, which it's not that hard to do if you do it properly and you set it up properly, you'll be fine. Like it really increases the way you live your life. It increases the happiness I've had in my life because it's automated. I don't have to think about these problems. If they arise, I can literally just solve them pretty quickly and move on with my life. Okay, another one. This is a good one as well. Getting into hobbies and thinking, oh, I just need to spend money when I first start and then it will be a lot cheaper. Then I either give up on the hobby or get so involved that I never stop spending. And his example is he gave up on surfing and he got way too into rock climbing. I am competing in a triathlon in the coming months. There'll be a video coming out about my journey and how much I've absolutely hated training for it because it's sucked. There's a lot of hard work that goes into training for something like this. And I know firsthand, and I've been tracking my expenses, and I'm going to talk about it from a financial point of view in the video, how much I've spent on this hobby over this period of time, all the things I've needed to acquire, the memberships that I've needed to pay for to be able to carry out proper training and actually do it in a way that helps me throughout my training. This I can attest to very much. You should still be allowed to enjoy your money on the things that you want to pursue. I am an advocate for spending money on things that make you happy within reason and making sure you spend an amount of money that you're happy to spend, not what this person seems to be in a bit of a pickle doing, where he's overspending on things like he said rock climbing. I know rock climbing gear is extremely expensive and there's just so many things you can buy. It's just a good reiteration that you can really get caught up in the materialistic things that you need to buy to be able to participate in these types of hobbies. If you have an expensive hobby, leave a comment down below. Let me know what it is. I'm curious as to how much you're spending on it and what's involved with it. And maybe I might actually find something that I'm really interested in pursuing. So yeah, leave me a comment down below of what your hobby is and how much it's costing you. I love living somewhere where there's always things on. They live in Melbourne. It's why last year was my best savings year because of COVID, obviously. But if there's a show I really want to go to, if there's someone invites me to something, then I get tickets straight away so I don't miss out. That's basically FOMO, similar to the hobby one where you like going out. People like to do things. It might be concerts, gigs, festivals, movies, regularly. I don't know how many movies are shown at the moment, but absolutely a good point. There are lots of things going on in different cities all around the world, and it's pretty easy to go spend your money and enjoy them, as you should be able to. That's the whole point of life, is to enjoy the things you have available to you. Being aware of it is a good one, and it looks like this person here has basically said it drives me to spend a lot of money on all of these types of events. If you're spending all of your money on them because of the fear of missing out, then look, you're not going to be able to build savings. There's not much more to that. I think people should be able to enjoy themselves, but just be aware of it. So that was good. I don't spend on big items like clothes and electronics, yet my savings were minuscule while having a generous salary. On close inspection of my bank account, I realized I spend a lot on many small items which physically go unnoticed. Here we go. Uber Eats, alcohol. That's one that I haven't seen yet, and it definitely should be. Cigarettes, huge red flag. That's a given. Coffee, eating out, buying lunch every day. All of the above purchases are unnecessary but require consistent work, which I avoided consciously and unconsciously. That's probably the strongest one in here for people who don't save any money and really struggle to save at all. I really like that one because realistically, they are the killers. They are the little things that add up. Alcohol for sure. I know so many people who are spending hundreds of dollars every single week on alcohol unnecessarily. And I'm glad he called it out. I can't believe I got this far down without seeing that. I'm a sucker for bargains. Today, my favorite skincare cream was reduced on the Amazon Prime sale, so I bought 4. I didn't need to buy them. All right, good one again. I do this. I recently just bought a Garmin because of my triathlon, and these things retail for like $1,000. I spent $530 on it. That's a bargain. I almost got it for half price through various discounts and ways that I have to buy items at cheaper prices. But the point is did I really need it as part of this training? No. Did I want it? Yes. Had I saved for it? Yes. But if I was someone who hadn't had that discipline and put that work and effort into actually being able to buy it, then I literally would have done exactly what people in this situation would have done. Like I would have spent money that I didn't have money to spend, and it would have caught me off guard. It would have probably done some damage to my savings and ultimately would have resulted in me not building savings, because if I did it with this, I would do it with other things and so on. This person here admitting it. Good on you. I don't have anything I want to save for. That's an interesting one. If you don't have a goal, then sure, you're probably not going to save for anything. I personally believe that you shouldn't need to have a goal to save some money. I think that in general, you should just save for the sake of saving. Learn how to do it. It's a great habit to have. And then when eventually you have something that you want to save for, if you've been saving the whole time, you'll be able to buy it because you won't have to think about building savings or learning how to save or putting practices into place. So I don't like the comment, and I disagree with your idea of your reason why you shouldn't save. You should definitely just save for the sake of it. I think if you can, it's something that people should do. And that's pretty much it for the rest of the thread. The thread goes on to say a lot of other things like food spending, pet spending. They reiterate a lot of the ones that were already said. I think coming out of this, there were a lot of really good suggestions. I really enjoyed doing this. It was a fun little exercise. I honestly believe really gives perspective and sheds light on why people really struggle to save money. It's important to cover. It's a topic that absolutely would provide value to some people, and I'm glad that I made a video about it. Something that I probably will continue to do in the future when interesting questions like this come up. I have left a link to both the subreddit and the actual thread that we covered in today's video. If you wanted to show it to someone else that you know struggles with saving, or you wanted to just do some of your own reading in your own time. While you're down in the description, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel grow, and I really appreciate the support as well. Overall, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was insightful, and if it was, please hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel. It really does help the channel grow. I really appreciate the support. Have a great week, have a great day, have a great everything, and I will see you in the next video.